Today's spotlight guest embraces discomfort. She uses it as a tool to deepen spiritual growth. She empowers women who are spiritually weary, but these women are not willing to give up. And I was just telling my guest that I love that about what she, in her description, the way she phrased that. I'm Marlene Foster with Empower the Vision. And today's guest is Marcia Thomas. And Marcia is a 6-time best-selling author, a motivational speaker, and she's also a Christian leadership consultant. And I want to welcome her today, and also wanted to tell you that she's one of the writers for 500 Moments of Discomfort. So she'll be telling us today how her story will empower you. Welcome, Marcia. How are you today?
Thanks for having me. I'm fine. Thank you. It's a
Wonderful.
joy being here.
Yeah, I just wanted you to start off just on a personal note. Just tell us, if you want, a little bit about where you're from, your home, and then tell us about what your expertise is, if you don't mind sharing with us.
Not at all. I am from Jamaica and I'm proud Jamaican. It's really the best place in the world. Lot of natural sun and fruits and vegetables. Everything is natural. And we really don't need to worry about winter. And I'm not really keyed up about winter. But I am presently in the United States, residing in the United States. And the adjustment will never be made, no matter how long and how many years I'm here,
Mhm.
because there are naturally beautiful things and beaches and so on that are very scarce to find in these parts. So I am a Christian leadership consultant, as you say, but I never started out in that way. I'm also the founder of MT Consulting and Coaching. And I am also a trainer, a corporate trainer. And I help individuals also who to successfully move from the beginning of their final dissertation or thesis to graduate from their master's or their doctoral program. And I am a curriculum and instructional specialist. That is what is my specialization in my doctoral studies. Adult education is my specialization in my master's, and double English, which is language and literature, is my specialty in my bachelor's. So I am wide around. I have been an instructional leader of an institution for over 15 years, and I have also been an adjunct professor from August 2012. So I teach master's and doctoral students in more than one universities. That's the sum total of what I do, apart from the fact that I'm a wife and a mother of 2 grown children with grandchildren, which is new to me, but I'm enjoying the moment.
Sure, yes. I definitely enjoy being a grandmother. I want you to know that I do. I look at the pictures. I sing songs, Marcia. I've got videos where I sing, and you know what? And the songs are natural. They just come to me. And my daughter asked me one day, "Where do you get those goofy songs from?" She said, "And Ayana loves it when you sing. When I sing to her, she just laughs and sings and throws her arms up in the air and tries to move and dance to the beat and everything." But I've been singing to her ever since she was born. She has always heard me sing to her, and that's
Yeah,
beautiful. Yes, yes.
my grand too. And she sings too. She hums the songs that she's learning. She's just 2, but she hums the songs that she's learning. And she tries to read her Bible. She puts her hand across and across, but of course at 2 she wouldn't be able to be reading. But those are as I say, those are the cute moments. Those are the memorable moments, and those are the joyful moments.
Wow, wow. And there was one thing that I did mean to mention, and that is also that Marcia has a new book that will be coming out, and we'll be talking about it briefly today. And her book is entitled "My Faith Looks Up." Is that correct?
Yes, my
My
faith
faith
looks
looks.
up.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I'm gonna tell you this. I'm looking forward to reading her book, and I'll be inviting her to come back on so we can do. You can do a some type of review, a story review. on her,
Very much so.
if she doesn't mind. And then also maybe you can go and purchase the book, and you could do one as well. Do a review for her on Amazon. And you do that
Yes.
for her. But I wanted to just start by asking you, thanking you first of all for being one of the writers for the 500 Moments of Discomfort. How do you feel your story about discomfort will actually empower readers?
Well, first of all, I think it will impact Christian professionals across the board as much as general readers, because in life, some persons have experiences where they have one crisis after another. And that crisis can, as a leader, I had a crisis, workplace crisis, one after another. And then in between that, I had to be juggling personal crisis that came from multiple losses of family members in a very, very, very short time. And I felt that I was going under. And I still had to show up and do a few things because persons felt that, and I too, that occupying your mind and occupying yourself with every little thing can make those issues be a little greater to handle. So I want to speak to people who are going through a very dry season, or what I would call a winter season, meaning that everything that can go wrong goes wrong. And you are at the end of your endurance, your end of your resilience. You are now feeling that you are given more than you can manage.
Mm,
And when you get to that Job point, this story will appeal to you and build you up. It will carry you over. You will be able to cross over. And that is how I think it will benefit people mostly. You will also be able to pull into yourself, and you will also want to look at how the life-changing events that make you better off, because these losses prepared me to take up my mission as a Christian leadership, life, and purpose coach, because that is when I took my business very seriously. I felt I now had enough preparation and a message to go into my business fully and help persons who are navigating this and trying to find their purpose.
mm,
And the purpose in all of this, and press into that purpose and turn it into a profitable calling. How you can use what you're going through, the themes that are coming up, where you're resting, your unique talents, and your creativity and innovation that you had to use because you did not die, and you had to rise above all of what was happening to you, and you had to survive because there was no other way out. Strong was what you had, and that is what you had to be. You had no other choice. And so as you moved along, even my coming out of my crisis in those two incidents of discomfort pulled people that after I came through, they were able to say to me, you were an inspiration. I never knew that you would get past this. If that happened to me, I don't know what I would have done. And I see you still manage, still encourage, still strengthen. And here you are being able to tell persons, if you can do it, then I can't see why you can't do it. And that is just one incident. I went through multiple. And so it gave me authority now to speak from a place of knowing and not as a scribe, a place of revelation and not a theory based assistance given to people, a place of understanding and comprehension rather than a place of discovery, a place where I can now convince people that it can be done and how it can be done because I've been there, done that.
mm. Wow. You are speaking directly to me. And I wanted to just give you an example of how I see all of this. I just see life sometimes how it vacillates, like the stock market. That's how I describe discomfort, like the stock market. And I also look at what I do, Marcia. exercise has always helped me to become more relaxed, helped me to be able to sleep at night, helped me to be able to have a more focused mindset so that I can be what I need to be, for my clientele. And so I walk and I do stretches and I lift weights. Can you tell me what what you do, or what do you think that some of the guests here today could do to minimize maybe some of the stress that they feel? You have something that you yourself you're doing
Well,
in your
I sing well, and the members of my family sing well. I also do it in public spheres like my church community concerts and so on. Through my lifetime, I have been on choirs and so on. So I find that I sing songs that pull out of my experience from me. So I really sing songs. I have a song when I 2 years ago, 2022, when I had the fulcrum that pushed me full fledged into what I now do, and started from 2015. I used to volunteer and help persons as a coach. But when it came to 2020 with COVID, and we were all shut down, I began to do it as a full-fledged business, and I began to consider it as a profitable calling, and began to do pricing and so on. And so in between all of that now, I sing away my burdens. I do a lot of meditation. I have been a Christian all my life. So I pull into the word, and I claim God's promises, and I speak them over my life, and they come together. My faith has also been strengthened in that there is nothing that I believe that God cannot do. And it cemented the songs, the meditation, and my support network of Christian mentors, and also family, friends, and family members who are Christian. We bonded together because some of the crises that we're facing would not have been mine alone. And so I pulled on that spiritual foundation and support group. I sing, I write poetry. I have several books of poetry. I have not published any of my poetry, but I've been writing poetry for years. And in that poetry, I talk about my experience. I did write also a poem about death and how black it is. I wrote about life and the crescendos that it took us through. Those poems are there. One of the days I'll just put them out there as healing moments. That's really what I term them. I have them in a one folder. Each time I go there, I put it in a folder. So, and I call the folder healing moments. So maybe that will be the name of my poetry book one of the days when I decide to put it out there. And I also play. Let me explain what I mean play. I play brain games, I play word games, and so on. And I bake. I love to bake. And so, as a Jamaican, that's part of my issue. In my family growing up, every Friday we would bake. In fact, we would push towards celebrating I worship on a Saturday. And so we would prepare our food and all the best meals and all of the different things. And so I find that I still use that as a soothing, healing balm to bake. And I laugh a lot. I laugh in sadness and I laugh in joy. I
Mhm.
laugh a lot. I find things around me to be grateful for and to make me laugh. And I have something that says, as bad as it is, it could be worse. And sometimes people might say to you, what could be worse? And I say, I could be dead. I could actually be dead. And
Yeah.
God is keeping me here for a reason. And so I know sometimes talk with God to and question him. Why am I still here? Why I don't think I can manage this. So what are you doing? How are you planning to help me? Show me what you want me to do. And so I have conversations with God, the way I talk with someone, the way I'm talking to you. So those are some of the ways I would pull out to people. Those are some of the things that I do. And there are occasional times when I feel that I might be putting on weight in places that I don't want. And so at that times I take exercise very seriously.
Hmm. And I was just sitting there listening to you, and I thought about, what really is healing for me. It also is cooking. I love watching recipes, and I love creating recipes and just cooking. But I also wanted to ask you, and I'm not trying to. I know that we didn't discuss this, but I wondered if do you have a brief poem that you could share with us right now? Just something brief. Just a few words that you
Uh,
could.
uh, I would have to find, let me find one. I think I might be able to
Oh,
find
okay,
one.
okay, wonderful. Because do you ever does cooking ever soothe you though, Marcia, like it does me? I go and I just cook, and I'm not talking about just eating it all up, but I just love to cook, and I love to change the recipes around. Change it to something brand new. Something that everybody else is not doing, but I take that recipe, and then family may come over, a friend comes over, and they say, "You've done something different here," and I said, "Well, I thought I would just take a chance and do something different with it." And so that's what I do. And that is so soothing and comforting and relaxing for me when I do that with recipes.
It does work for me in relation to the I my problem is I'm an experimenter when it comes to baking, and I don't use certain things. So I don't use sugar, for example,
Hmm.
and so I would bake without sugar.
What do
And
you
the
what do you use in place of it? What do you use?
I don't use eggs. It depends. Sometimes I use the fruits itself,
Okay.
banana, and I use the apple and the applesauce.
Mhm.
I might blend them together. There are cherries that are sweet. I might do that. I use cranberry. Those I use raisins. So those things that pulls it together with the
Okay.
sweetening, or I use maple syrup
Okay.
in
Okay. What
some of
about
my
dates? What are
recipes.
dates? You ever eat dates?
Yes, I use dates a lot. I use dates in my smoothies. And sometimes they don't work well in the what I'm baking. And so I mostly use raisins, but
Okay.
I make sure that I balance those raisins with some flour, and then I blend them together nicely. So
Okay.
they
Okay.
spread out in the recipe and do the job that it's supposed to do. If I'm doing cornbread, I because I don't use egg as I said before. So if I'm doing cornbread or so on, what I sometimes use is some seeds. So I use the chia seeds to be the binding agent, or the sprouts to do the binding agent. And I also will use honey.
Hmm.
Sometimes when I'm finished, depending on what it is, because some of these carry their sweetness in themselves. Carrots tend to carry a certain amount of sweetness. Well, Jamaican carrots are much sweeter than the American carrots. And then there are certain fruits like banana that carries a sweetness with it also. When you're finished baking with those and it's finished, I sometimes sprinkle some honey on the top of the baking itself. Let me continue to look for some poems here.
Okay. Okay. Did you find a poem?
I haven't found it yet.
Okay, but what I was gonna yeah, what I was gonna say is that I want to hear while if you're searching for it, I want to hear about your book that's upcoming. Can you share with us a
Yes,
little bit
I
about?
want to that book was recently completed out of a how would I put it now? My clients, a few of my clients came to me and they were quite discouraged. They are, as you know, I mostly focus. It's not that I don't do persons who are not Christians. I don't work with those persons, but I'm a Christian leadership coach. So a lot of persons who gravitate to my coaching using the free model are Christians in themselves, Christian career professionals. And what I found is that when we dig down deep and they did their purpose alignment audit and their spiritual gifts and begin to put it together, a lot of them came out as the faithful, the faithless, the wishful person. And
Mhm.
so we recognize that their faith was, we find that in that frame of things, the analysis included a lack of faith. So they some know what they're about, but they lack the faith to take the strategic action. Some were very uncertain. They are very wishful, but the faith is the fear overcomes their faith. And there are others who question their faith because they keep second guessing if this is God is putting it on my heart, but it's gonna cost me so much. So I'm not sure if this is really what God wants me to do. So they keep asking for confirmation and getting it over and over, but they are not able to move from that point. So what I do is when they come to that point and we pull them through, we find that a lot of them are saying, my faith, I just needed to have more faith. I just needed to trust God some more and so on. and a lot of them are coming out of this experience also. What brought them into to me is there are many experiences that began to make them lose their faith. So a lot of time, a lack of faith or discouragement or not understanding where you are going, feeling lost despite the fact that you're gifted, or the fact that you're achieving, or the fact that you are comfortable, the fact that you're producing, does not come from a burnout, and it does not come from a breakdown. It comes from a disconnect. I am achieving all of this, but I still feel that something is missing. I feel guilty and I don't know what crime I'm committing. I am seeing all the trophies around me. I'm seeing everything on my wall, the accolades. I have persons applauding me and I have them pulling me on. I am at the top of my game. I'm very respected. I'm an authority and I have influence and impact and power, but it means nothing. There is this lack of fulfillment in me. There is this lack of contentment. I'm not contented. All of this gain, I'm not contented. And so I began to turn it inward for myself and to find the gaps in me that makes me feel disconnected. And I pulled things out of me that I was able to resonate, made me resonate with these persons. And I wrote my book. And so I write this book for persons who have an issue in the waiting in between, the silence between the terrible silence between the waiting and the promise. Not sure where you want to go, where you're turning. I'm writing it for people who have carrying hurt that comes from betrayal and wants vindication. I also write to persons who are have suffered heartbreak and needs healing. I'm writing to persons who are struggling and need a breakthrough. I'm writing for persons who want to understand why they were laid off, this resignation, and where the open doors are, how they can identify them. I'm writing persons who are hanging between fear and faith. And I'm writing to those persons who feel helpless and who needs hope. Those excruciating moments are what I capture in this book. And I talk about feeling the nudge and feeling the whisper and the undeniable sense that there is something deeper inside of you that you want to pull out, that you want to explore. And I talk about it not being just a book, but a companion of you, showing you how to discover, overcome, and to discover your divine why and become joyful and fulfilled again as you embrace your God given purpose, being very joyful in what you're doing. And also, I also share the wisdom that I have gained or gleaned throughout my moments, and I create this for persons to navigate their faith as a source of inspiration and use their faith as a guide for the journey that they're on. And also a reminder that in the midst of uncertainty, God is faithful. He sees you, He knows your heart, and He has a beautiful plan. And how they can now reach out and grab this plan and own it as their own and move on nicely. I have several chapters in this book, Finding Your Faith and God's Purpose in the Wilderness. I talk about also finding, if we are to look at the perspective, I also talk about the weight of waiting, how hard it is to really wait. I talk about also I'm trying to remember some of what I have here. I talk about the building faith as a weary believer. I talk about balancing, finding faith that balance you in crisis. I talk
Mm.
about also building a foundation of faith, how you build that foundation, and how you actively live the faith, how you develop a deeper relationship with God as a career Christian career professional. I give an inspirational quote and I give tips and strategies in each chapter how you can honor your God given gifts and use them profitably. I also talk about when faith pours out, serving with what you carry or from what you carry. And I also talk about the importance of leaving a legacy, leading with purpose and integrity, and walking in faith and purpose by discerning God's will for your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about leaving a legacy. How
Mm,
you can, through this faith build up, leave your legacy and pull your passions and your purpose together.
mm, mm.
How you build faith through adversity, amidst adversity and uncertainty. I talk about those things that are really important issues that can dim your faith. You're trusting God when you cannot trace God's plan in unclear seasons. I talk about those things.
See,
So
yes,
I
that's
pulled on overcoming fear and doubt and living by faith. And I call it my faith looks up. Very important.
wonderful. I'm looking forward to reading your book.
Thanks.
I'm looking forward to reading it. And if just listening to you, and you and I right now at this particular moment, you and I are creating what? A legacy. Whenever
Yes.
you are podcasting, when you're doing your motivational speaking and writing
Yes.
your books, that's your legacy. And most of us think that it's primarily for future reference, but a legacy is today. It's today. Today you're creating, and today you could be a blessing to someone today, and then it's impactful for tomorrow. But look at today. Also, all of us have to stop and look at what we're doing, because a lot of times, what I'm noticing also, Marcia, is that you don't know, but all of us are being watched by someone. There's someone
Mm-hmm.
who really is inspired by you, and you don't know who they are. Somebody may be on LinkedIn, or if you're on I'm on YouTube a lot too. And then I speak with people. You don't know who's being really inspired by you, because I remember one day I used to be in the legal profession. I was on the steps getting ready to go up to the chancery court, and this young lady stopped me on the stairs and said, "Oh my God," she said, "Marlene." And I looked at her because I was trying to recognize who she was. She said, "I want you to know something." She said, "If it had not been for you," she said, "I never would have attended law school." She said, "Because of you, today I'm pursuing a Juris Doctor degree because of you." And that's why, and that just, tears came to my eyes, girl, because we really don't know how impactful we are. I mean, and sometimes it could go in both directions, but I'm just saying,
Yes.
I was so fortunate that I had done something positive, for her. So we really have to look at how we treat, first of all, how we treat ourselves too, because how you treat yourself determines how you treat others. If you're not taking care of you, how can you take care of others?
Very much so. So I found that a poem, suppose, it's not, that's my last one. It's not finished yet, but it says, just imagine being home and you wake up in a hospital. Just imagine being able to talk and realize you can't. Just imagine being able to touch and you find that it's imaginary. Just imagine being able to hear and there is a deficit in your hearing. Just imagine being able to breathe and you're now dependent on a respirator. Just imagine your moving feet has now become lifeless, even being awake. Just imagine a thing as sunlight can't be seen from your room for weeks. Just imagine being present in a room, talking to a loved one for days and no response. Just imagine your loved one anguishing in pain and that voice is not heard. So many borrowed sorrows erupt, and in truth, so many fears are indulged. Such a weight of anxiety is expressed in that one word, suppose. Suppose we had no pitying, loving Savior ready to hear our heart cry. Just suppose.
Wow. Listening to you right now, Marcia, you just took my mind back. Oh my God, you took my mind back I'm serious. 40 plus, almost 50 years back. You know that because I was in a car accident with my grandfather and my older sister. And I'm telling you, the two of them, and we hit a house. We came up on the, went through the grass, and this was late at night, and it was storming, and we hit a house. And
Yeah.
the two of them, my grandfather had deep, he had deep indentations in his forehead. It was really awful. My sister, it happened with her mouth, with her lip, and guess what happened to me? Nothing, nothing, Marcia, nothing. My
That guilt must be serious.
girl, I'm telling you that, and I think about that today, and I say, why me, Lord? Did nothing happen to me? And there I was sitting right there beside the two of them, and look what happened to me. Nothing.
Very much so. You see, why not me and why me are on the other side of jealousy and grief. Why me and why not me?
Yeah, but I wanted to just tell you that it's I see that how far we've gone now in the time, but I wanted to thank you today so very much for joining me, and I wanted to just stop here and just for a brief moment, and just if you would, if you'd like to leave just a few words, with today's audience, if you would like to say something to them before we close.
I want to say to my audience, never give up. No matter how challenging the path may look or how difficult, if you feel that you're at a dead end, don't look around you, look up. If you feel your back is against the wall, don't look around you, look up. That's where the walls are. The escape route is up. Always looking up. Looking up lifts your mind. It actually lifts your mind upward. And it also pulls on the universe to say, I need your help. I'm open to your help. I'm surrendering to that help. And it also makes you accept the things that you cannot change. Because when you look around, you want to get back control. When you look up, you have left what is around you. And you are now giving control to someone who knows much better than you. And when you look up, you can never give up
Mm,
because looking up lifts you up.
mm.
And that way, you can never give up. Always look up. No matter how bad it is, consider that it could be worse. Have this heart of gratitude that comes from looking up.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow, Marcia, that is, I mean, breathtaking. I mean, that's beautiful. And thank you so much. Thank you again. And please come back
Thank you
and
so
join.
much for
Yeah,
having me. And I'll certainly be back as soon as my book is ready for your support. I'd love to put it out there. We're going to be advertising, we're going to be coming in so persons get a feel of it and get introduced to it. So very soon you'll see that on my LinkedIn post. And also, when it comes out like that, I just want you all to advertise in your spaces so that on the day when I say it is fully launched on Amazon, people can purchase. Thank you so
wonderful. You know what? And thank you for being on the team with me for 500 moments of discomfort. And you know what? And it's about to also be published. And I'm so excited. And I'm so happy that you're one of the authors. Thank you again, Marcia. Thank you for being here with us today. And looking forward to seeing you again. Like I said, when your book is published, please come back. Okay. And thank you everyone for being here with
Thank
us
you so
today.
much.
Thank you. Have a
Yes.
great
Bye
day,
everyone. Yes.
everybody.